I want to thank y'all for making y'all way up in here. Hope y'all had a happy solar eclipse day. Hope y'all wasn't looking at the sun without no glasses. All right, we ain't trying to go blind and ruin our retinas. Amen. Okay. Now, needless to say, so I took some time and I watched part one and part two of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Now, I'm only going to hit on specific parts that I really feel is pertinent to talk about because majority of it, I don't know. Like, so let's get started here. So in the beginning of the reunion, Andy was asking the girls about, swallowing, Ashley swallowing Michael's semen and stuff like that. And I was like, in my mind, I was thinking, like, how far have we like come that the most important topic that we can discuss on this television show is swallowing semen? Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm saying out of everything for us to be talking about, that's been going on behind the scenes, outside of the show, all of those type of things, the first thing we want to do is talk about semen. Crazy work. Now, we're going to get it started here. So, Andy had laid down a precedent to say that this reunion is meant for us to basically have, let's say, a come to Jesus. He said for reuniting, for moving forward, for us to forgive one another. And he asked everybody on their specific couches. He said, "Okay, Karen, are you in?" She said yes. You ask Candice if she's in. She says yes. Wendy, yes. Mia, yes. Naka, yes. And then when it gets to Robin and Gizelle, so Gizelle is gonna say, "I'm looking forward to the to the accountability. I'm looking forward to the ownership. If anybody needs to own anything, it would be Gizelle. Gizelle, y'all already know how I feel about that woman. I do not like Gizelle in the least. I don't think that she's a good person. I'm not just gonna relegate it to a specific TV show that she's on. I feel like regardless outside of the show how you are or not, the way that you present yourself on the show and the way that you carry yourself shows us a glimpse into who you are in your real life. I don't care if you're nice to everybody, if you're kind to content creators that you meet along the way. Baby, if you're getting on this show lying about SA, then I'm sorry. I don't feel that you're that great of a person. So I'm going to just say that. Now, I'm going to be hop skipping over different topics. Now, when they got to talking about Candice and Gizelle, they asked Gizelle, why does she feel so much vitriol for Candice? And why does she say that, it was a danger, to like have conversation with Candice? She goes on to say that Candice is, provoking, unalive threats by the audience. She's liking tweets and stuff like that. So Andy turns to Candice and says, like, well, have you been liking any tweets? This girl gonna say, yeah, I've liked some tweets. Now, the tweet that they decided to show us had nothing to do with any type of threats. It was a tweet that was breaking down the hypocrisy and colorism that's going on the show since Gizelle. Like, so I was trying to figure out, like, what is this production trying to paint? Like, what's the narrative that we're trying to paint here? Because y'all are not giving us any type of proof on what you're saying. So we just gonna go along with what Gizelle says because she says it. But then not only that, the fact that Candice is liking the tweets is only a response to what you did. Nobody told you to get on the show and say that Chris was unhappy with his wife. Nobody told you to get on the show and said that Chris was trying to see if you were down to get with it. Nobody told you to call him a sneaky link. Nobody told you to say that he made you go into a hotel bedroom. Nobody told you to say that he made you uncomfortable. Now, you being uncomfortable is one thing, but when you tie all of those other things that you said, Gizelle, it really paints a picture of somebody who is trying to coerce and force somebody to do something sexually that they don't want to do. And I know I'm not the only one who has common sense. And all of this is really just mind-boggling to me because Andy is sitting here like with blank face. And at first I was thinking, Andy, are you like not trying to see both sides of this? But honestly, y'all, and I 100% think what I'm saying is valid. I do not think that Andy is watching this show. I don't believe Andy is watching the show. I think Andy does not watch these shows. I think that he waits until he gets to the reunion and get questions, and then he goes based on that. He's not watching any of the content that we're seeing. He's not watching any of the stuff that's being said in the confessionals. And to be honest, how can you? He is literally like over all of these different franchises. You have Dubai, you have Beverly Hills, OC, New Jersey, Atlanta, New York. You have, and not to mention the other Housewives franchises in other cities, in other countries that are not even on the show, right? So Andy turns to Candice and basically says, well, you liking the tweet basically, kind of contributes to what she's talking about. And then what is said next even is mind-blowing to me. So basically, Candice makes a point to say, me liking a tweet is no different from you and Robin getting on your podcast and talking about me and my husband. And then Gizelle is going to say, okay, but we only did that once because it was in the blogs. Last time I checked, I see a lot of blogs talking about the colorism on the show. Last time I checked, I see a lot of blogs talking about how you wrongfully accused, Candice's husband of doing things that we all know that he did not do. Y'all all sat there and concocted lies that whole season to come at this man. You, Mia, Ashley, and Ashley's hard-faced friend Deborah, right? I know I don't have short-term memory loss. I know I can't be crazy, right? And it's beginning to become a point where it's almost insulting to the audience because I'm trying to understand, who are you targeting this show to? Who is this show getting targeted to? Because it can't be Black people. You're making a housewife show with women of color, meaning Black, not talking about, other races that like to claim, being women of color while doing nothing to help women of color being as Black women, get a leg up in this world that seems to dog them down at any moment and at any chance. Right? Now, from this point, right, we get another question. So we get another question basically saying, okay, Candice, how can you say that Robin is wrong for not wanting to share aspects of her life, but you said it in past seasons that, that you and Chris can, share whatever you want to share. Now, mind you, Candice has been one of the most transparent people on the cast. I don't care what none of y'all say, and I really don't. Candice blew this Housewives franchise up. When Candice came onto the scene, people started really paying attention and really watching it. Now, I'm not going to negate that Monique added a flair into the show. I may not like her like that, but I do know a lot of y'all do for some reason. Or whatever it is. I was never a huge Monique fan like that. I liked her in her beginning seasons, but as time progressed, I started to see weird stuff about Monique that really came to head in season 5, right? Now, Candice has been the most transparent, but Candice replies to Andy after he says this and says, I'm not going to answer that question because it's coming from a blogger who is in a group chat with Robin. Now, for those of y'all who don't know who this blogger is, I'm not even going to name him. Just know that the motherfucker got me blocked. Okay? And this content creator is somebody who exhibited a lot of signs of colorism, especially because he liked to tweet calling Wendy and Candice crunchy black. And he's just really pathetic. He's a punk. He's a weenie. He's a cornball. I ain't gonna lie, he's a bitch. He a bitch. Okay? And I'm gonna just say it like that. He's a bitch. Okay? And every single time he's gotten approached about the topic of colorism and how he is deciding to come at Wendy and Candice, he has like this white fragile breakdown. And if y'all don't know what white fragility is, you can go and look that up, because I feel like that is exactly what we've been seeing demonstrated on this cast by Gizelle and Robin. I read a book about white fragility. I forgot the name of it, but I read it sometime in my second year of college. Right? Now, Candice says that this content creator is the person that Robin was texting talking about Gizelle, saying all of this stuff about Gizelle. And when she said this, Robin looked like she was shocked, because she was probably trying to figure out, how did she even get this information, right? So Candice decides to pull a big picture of the text messages or the DMs between this blogger and Robin, and we can see basically Robin having an issue with Gizelle, basically breaking that down to this content creator and saying that, does this look like she was getting yelled at by my husband? It makes me so mad. I think I'm gonna make a post or something like that. At this point, Gizelle is like, I'm not mad. You seem more mad than me, Candice. And it's so funny how they always have a united front. And once again, I'm just trying to figure out, who is the production team trying to entertain? Who are they trying to entertain? Because it's not the viewers. The viewers are making it very apparent and very clear that we're not here for Ashley, Robin, or Gizelle. However, these are the women that y'all continuously save time and time again to try to push into the forefront as the face of this franchise. And I'm trying to figure out, is this an executive decision? Is this on Eric Fuller? Is it on the Housewives production team as a whole? I don't know who to blame. I don't. But I think it's quite strange how whenever somebody is trying to make a point, if they're not Robin or Gizelle, they're basically made to look crazy. So when Candice had showed this, I was expecting Andy to try to dive into, why are you messaging other bloggers? Because mind you, this is what they held Monique up to. This is what they said Monique was doing. And y'all know I do not like Monique like that. This is what they said Monique did about the altercation, that she was going to blogs, that she was out here painting stories, and that she was out here lying and turning the public against Candice before the season even came out. Come to find out, you are doing the exact thing. You're giving out text messages between you and Candice, and you're also giving out, information amongst the cast. Why wasn't that talked about? Why wasn't that discussed? Because y'all damn sure made it a point to talk about it when Monique was on the show, when she was on the reunion. Y'all made it a point. But I guess we're just gonna move past that, right? So this is where I begin to get agitated. So Andy gets into the relationship dynamic between Robin and Candice, right? And he asks Candice, What is it that you need from Robin to move forward? What is it that you need? She couldn't even get it out before she started crying. And I'm just like, why are you crying? Now, I'm not saying that you can't feel emotions or you can't be sensitive or you can't express your emotions or anything like that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is you literally have your ops on the couch and you're crying in front of them. Now, I was somebody who was a fan of Candice. I'm saying this in past tense because Candice announced to us that she's not coming back. So that's that. So Candice can, wrap girls up verbally and smoke them like a 420 blunt, right? But in this in this specific question, you couldn't even gather what you were saying or what you were feeling without coming to tears, and I just think that that's quite strange. It's quite strange. Like, you're crying over somebody who has made it known time and time and time again that they don't give a damn about you. That is insane to me, y'all. I would never be begging for no bitches' friendships. I would never, especially if you showed me time and time again that you're not that you're not loyal to me. Shout out to Aisa too for the super chat. They don't talk about what they do because the the Dolezal gang is protected by Andy and the production, and this is disgusting. I am done with RHOP. I'm done with RHOP too. Like, after this, after we wrap up all of this stuff with the reunion, baby, you ain't gonna catch me talking about this show. You ain't gonna catch me. All right, but let's continue. So at this point, right, Candice is crying. Candice is upset. Candice is trying to piece her words together. And Robin is wondering, okay, if you feel that I am such a bad person and you feel that I set up your husband, why do you even want to be my friend? And that was a valid question. Why do you want to be this woman's friend? She's basically saying, if you feel that I did all of this stuff that you feel that I did, which I probably did, why do you want to be my friend? And it's because Candice is a pick-me. Candice has issues emotionally dealing with other women because she probably has issues with her mom. So she always wants to be liked. She always wants to be selected. She always wants to be chosen. And she chooses to form friendships and bonds, although she may know girls do not like her. Right? That's why. That's why you're crying. It's because you want to be liked by Robin. You want to be liked by Gizelle. But the fact that they're not doing it is the reason why you're so upset. So when he asks you this question, you break into tears because, truth be told, you know that there's nothing really that you can say that you need from Robin to move on from this situation. You don't have anything to verbally say for y'all to get over this hump, because Robin has showed you time and time and time again that she does not give a damn about you, but you still have an emotional attachment to this, to this woman. And I understood last season when she cried about it, but to be crying about it on this season after all of these months, I don't know what it is, but it's coming across really pathetic. And I really hate to see Candice like this, y'all, because I was expecting Candice to read these girls down. I was expecting her to read these girls down because they have played in her face. They have played with her man. They have played with her friendship. They have played with her loyalty. They have played with her intelligence. They have played in every facet of her life with no repercussion. And you sitting here crying about these women who don't care. It's crazy. And this is why I can never 100% be behind Candice, because I'm up here like, you want to be friends with the girls who's literally driving you insane. Like, I could never understand that. You sitting here talking about you got a love-hate frenemy relationship with Ashley. No, you don't. I know you want to try to act like you got the same relationship that Gizelle and Karen has with you and Ashley, but that's not what this is, sis. She despises you. And every chance she gets to embarrass you, she takes it. And you're sitting here gagged every single time. And it's almost giving to me that the whole energy that Candice gave during this reunion was defeat. I feel like Candice was just over it. I felt like Candice was just defeated. Candice was, tired mentally. I felt like Candice was tired, emotionally, that she was just drained. It was like she had no fight. But when she decides to cry, Gizelle decides to say, I love those fake tears. Cry, Candice, come on, bring the tears. And she's doing all of these things. And Andy looks over to her and says, that's kind of mean. Kinda mean. It's extremely mean, and it's extremely venomous and evil. Like, Gizelle is an evil person to her core. She's a nasty individual. And she is the embodiment of saggy neck and disgust. I cannot stand that woman. And the fact that everybody was supposed to be held accountable for their actions, but nobody seems to be getting held accountable except for Wendy and Candice is really pissing me off, because it's like, what was the point of this conversation at the beginning of the show anyway? You said that you was going to hold everybody accountable. It doesn't really seem that you're doing that. Doesn't really seem that you're out here trying to make it a point to point out the inconsistencies in everybody's stories. It seems that you're only pulling out questions to come at Candice. And mind you, he don't even come with these questions. They're questions generated by the production team given to him. And then he basically just recounts the questions amongst the cast. That's it. So it really begs to argue, is the production team against Wendy and Candice? It seems as so. The fact that y'all have literally protected this woman time and time again is crazy. So then they get into this whole thing with Candice and Wendy, not Candice and Wendy, but Candice and Gizelle, about the whole, Chris thing. So Candice basically says a lot of anger that she has is because Gizelle keeps on lying and Gizelle keeps on changing up her story, and Gizelle does not get any repercussions about it. You literally said that my husband forced you into a hotel room. Gizelle says, I never said that he forced me into a hotel room. This is when the cast has to say, girl, yes, you did. You said he made me get into a hotel room, and Karen had to basically hold her to that. And it was like pulling teeth, y'all. She did not want to admit that she was wrong. She did not want, she denied that she ever said that. She was like, I did not say that. I never said that. That never came out of my mouth. So she said, and if I did, I meant that he asked me to. Well, you know what? I don't think I can. Well, bitch, you said it in front of America. You already said it. You already put it out there that this man made you go into it. Now, and then she's trying to say like, oh, I didn't mean force. I just said made, and even if I use the word made, I meant to say ask. Y'all, if I use made in a sentence, like I say, he made me eat something. He made me do this. He made me do that. He made me get out of my car. He made me go into the house. He made me pick up those dishes. He made me take that bag. It's as if I am being forced to do it, because that's the whole synonym of what made is. It's an act of force. So it's like we're playing with semantics and we're playing with words. So basically all you have to say, well, I meant to say asked. And everybody is saying like, well, she just said that that she didn't mean it that way, Candice. How do you take that? Do you accept that, Candice? And Candice is like, sure. Now, when they go into the threats that Candice that Candice had towards her family or whatever the case may be. Candice says, I don't take responsibility for those threats, but I apologize that those threats are affecting your children. That was not my point to make. I did not want your children to be a point of contention about what's going on. And Gizelle reluctantly says, sure. And my thing is like, why is Gizelle mad? Why is Gizelle acting like she's been done wrong, and she's the one who basically has been victimized all over this? What you will not do, Gizelle, is play with people's families, play with people's husbands, play with people's freedom, if we being honest, their reputation, and think that nobody can say anything back to you. And let's be clear here, the colorism conversation was happening well before Candice and Wendy came along, because people thought that you felt a colorism offense against Monique. But Monique was such a pick-me herself that she denied colorism was on the cast, even though the light-skinned women who she chased after validation of never accepted her just off the bat. She didn't even have to do anything. As soon as you said you had 3 houses and you was married and your man got money and they don't have those things, they was upset with you, because how dare you have all of these things and be darker than us and we're lighter than you. It was giving that straight from the beginning, and we all were able to see that. However, Monique was such a pick-me that she never brought this conversation up into the cast. And then when they asked her about it at the season 5 reunion, Monique denied that there was colorism that ever happened on this cast, and says that she's just as dark as Candice and she's never been treated wrong. Girl, what? Your whole point of this season 5 reunion was to roast the shit out of Gizelle because she decided to go after the paternity of your child. What do you mean that you never experienced any type of colorism on this show? They've been going at you continuously. Ashley called you an alcoholic. Robin called you stupid. And Gizelle said that you be cheating on your husband. And you can never understand why they have this vitriol towards you. And it's because they were jealous, because they felt that you did not deserve the things that you had, because they did not have those. And light-skinned women, especially when they have green eyes, are raised up to think that they can get whatever they want and that everything should go to them first and you second. So therefore, if they are broke, if they are financially struggling, if they can't dress, and if they don't have no man that loves and cares about them enough to, lavish them with things that they deserve, then you shouldn't be having that either. Because how dare you? You ain't light-skinned hoe. That's the. Tell me I'm lying. I ain't lying about this. I know what I seen. Gizelle's response only perpetuates the colorism. Right. So we get into Karen and Robin. Right. So Andy asked Robin to say 3 nice things about Karen. She comes up, says she's a good mom, blah, 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 blah. Karen says that, she loves how, Robin has the ability to act like a victim over and over and over again. And I'm up here like, okay, Andy, are you going to call any one of these girls out for not? Are we just only holding Candice accountable? Are we just only making Candice cop please and apologize? Is that it? Because it doesn't really seem that Karen was out here trying to move forward either. Not saying that I disagree with her for not wanting to move forward with Robin, but I'm saying if we're holding Candice to the fire, let's hold everybody else to the fire. But obviously that's not this kind of show. My eyes are hazel, so he ain't talking about me. Listen. Now, they get in they start to talk about, all of the stuff with Karen and Robin. Karen brings up the fact that I don't have to have your back. I don't have to do those things because You don't know what you want. 1 minute you're pulling out JBL speakers on people and talking about them behind their back, and the next moment you want them to stand up for you. That's not what this is, sir. Right? And Robin does this thing every single time that Karen gathers her, and Karen, basically plays in her face. She does this thing like why are you always so confused, Robin? Why are you always in a state of confusion, Robin? It's always it's like every single time she tries to go at Karen and gets read down, it's always like you're saying, like, that doesn't even make sense. Girl, you make no sense, Robin. I do not like these people. I don't. I will never be reviewing this show again. I promise. Cross my heart and hope. I ain't gonna say hope to D. I ain't gonna say that. But I'm saying I will not be reviewing this show again. This will never happen again. I might give y'all a third part, review. But honestly, I don't even think I have the ability to do that, to be honest. Like, I truthfully have an utter disdain and disgust towards the women of this cast. And I'm low-key talking about all of them, if I'm being honest. Right? Now, let's move on. So, we're supposed to be talking about Karen, right? And what she's going through with Robin, but somehow we get back to Candice when we're supposed to be talking about Karen and Robin. And we're holding Candice more accountable, more accountability, more apologies, more, more. We don't have enough of you groveling, Candice. Get down on your hands and knees and kiss the feet of Gizelle and Robin and the rest of these light-skinned hussies on the cast. That's what it felt like to me. And I didn't like, and I understand that not Robin, but Wendy probably meant all well with this, but she taps Candice and says, like, well, do you accept her apology? She owned her things, and I'm talking about Gizelle. She says she owned her things. Do you accept that? And now everybody's looking at Candice, and now she feels forced to accept something that she knows is not genuine. And she's basically saying that, like, obviously, Gizelle does not want to have a come to Jesus. Obviously, her actions and her words are saying that. And then Mia says, well, I don't think that. So she basically is getting forced and pressured to accept an apology that never really happened. And she has to give an apology. And we basically skirt over every single thing that Gizelle has done. Mind you, this whole thing is supposed to be about Karen. But once again, we back to Candice and Gizelle. And once again, this is my point, is that it's obviously a combined effort to villainize Candice and Wendy on this reunion. They want to place all the blame on Candice, place all the blame on Wendy, and just take all the blame out of Gizelle and Robin and Ashley's hands. And that's literally insane to me, because it's saying that that's not reflecting the reality of what we're watching. That's not reflecting what we've been seeing. That's not like, it's almost like you are purposefully trying to gaslight the audience, and it does nothing but piss us off and not want to watch. So therefore, I'm asking, who are you targeting this show for? And mind you, the people who do back up Gizelle, and I've been wanting to say this for a while, and I forgot to make this point before. People who really be supporting Gizelle And Robin and Ashley are white fans and Hispanic fans. I'm not gonna lie. And those are not the ones who are watching this show in majority. So how can you come into a space of color, of not color, but women of color, being black or biracial women, and tell them how they should feel about colorism, how they should feel about racism, and then tell two other women to get over it and then try to villainize them for the sake of Gizelle and Robin. Mind you, all of that shit that they're saying is making the show worse because they continue to try to paint Gizelle and Robin as some sort of victims. And they're not. And it does nothing but anger and infuriates the cast. I mean, well, some of the cast, Wendy and Candice, but it does nothing but infuriates the audience and makes us want to tune out. So my question once again is, do you want this shit to be successful? Why is it that we cannot hold Gizelle accountable? Why is it that we cannot hold Robin accountable? Mind you, Robin is talking about that, she didn't feel like that she needed to, to bring her business onto the show and things like that because, it happened off season. She says that she didn't believe that Robin did that Juan did anything wrong. She felt that, Juan is her husband. Juan loves her, and what needs to be said is said. And I was like, girl, what? What? And it got so pathetic that Wendy was like, girl, your man should be behind you, trying to take some of the bullets that you're about to have to duck, because truth be told, if your man really loves and cares about you, they're going to make sure that you're protected, especially when their actions are the ones that put you in a predicament that you may not be safe in. And Robin is, once again, here she goes. She's like, what? Girl, what? It's like, y'all, I'm not gonna let these hoochies, run my blood pressure up. I refuse. No, I ain't gonna do it. Y'all. I ain't gonna do it. So let's continue this. So let's skip forward. So now we are on the second part. Oh, and mind you, I think that Robin felt like she didn't even need to have her husband there. Juan didn't even need to be there because she knew damn well that the production was going to protect her as much as she really needed to be protected. Robin barely had to answer for anything. We spent more time talking about Candice and Candice's and what Candice has done and how Candice has hurt Gizelle and how Candice has done this and how Candice has done that. Meanwhile, this husky light-skinned lady has not talked about her real life on the show. We're just we just speed past that, right? Because we just need to focus on holding Candice accountable. This show is a joke. I promise y'all. If you still watching this show next season, you a fool. I don't care if Robin comes back. I don't even care if Candice comes back. I don't care if Wendy comes back. I don't care if Cherise got her bob wig from season 4 reunion and came back. I will not be reviewing this show. This is literally insanity. I can't. So let's get to the second part, y'all. Now, the second part was just as infuriating as the first. We get back into everything. Now we have a woman here who has hid her life from the public. Mind you, she getting paid to do all of this. She gets paid Like bitches are going to college, getting masters and doctorate degrees, and still not making the money that Robin was making on this show just to talk about the shit going on in her life. And she couldn't even do that. But we just skirt past that, right? Now, we start talking about the whole friendship between Candice and Robin again. Now, ask me why we're going back into Candice and Robin. Why are we doing this again? Why are we doing this again? So, but y'all, I was so glad that they did this because it brought so many things into perspective for me, right? Because at the beginning of this, I was like trying to figure out based on the show, why was Candice so confused that Robin was angry with her when she was, lighting her ass up on social media, right? Like Robin had basically showed that text message. It said, like, she's asking me, why am I upset? Why do you think I'm upset? What you did was something that a friend would never do. Of course I'm upset. No. We now find out that the that the storyline that they were trying to paint about Candice and Robin wasn't even true. Hold on, I'm sorry. My alarm going off. Wasn't even true, right? So basically, we find out that after the last reunion, Candice had saw that Robin had posted a picture of her hair and her hair was longer. She texted Robin and said, "Your hair is so pretty, long hair." And, Robin doesn't respond back. Candice asks her, like, "Are you mad at me?" And then Robin responds and says, "Well, I think my hair looks pretty nice for a pale, white looking woman." And I'm up here like, wait, so you were mad because Candice said what she said about Gizelle? And then, y'all, so because Robin does not even have a realistic meaning or point as into why she was upset with Candice, besides that she just didn't want Candice to break down the discussion of colorism amongst the cast, she decides to cry like a Karen, like a white woman. Like a racist white woman. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, look up white fragility. Hold on. I'm about to show y'all what I'm talking about. Let me share the screen real quick. I will pull up what white fragility is. Cuz I know some people have not heard that term before. All right, so let me share the screen real quick. All right. So right here, we have the term white fragility. It's discomfort and defensiveness on the part of a white person when confronted by information about racial inequality and injustice. Her indignant reaction comes off as quintessential combination of white fragility and white privilege. Whenever a person is approached about racism and they're a white woman or a white man, and all of a sudden they become so emotional. I just can't talk about this, and I just can't do this. I'm just so hurt, and I don't want, and this is an uncomfortable topic, and I just can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. It's the white fragility, because you are so bothered by the fact that we're talking about racial inequality and racial injustice, because you know that you benefit from it, and you know that you are victimizing people with it. But because you want to continue this tyranny of social inequality, racial inequality, in this systematic oppression of these specific people, regardless of his skin color or their race, you will gaslight and then act like you were so hurt. And my question is, how could you be more hurt by the topic of race and the topic of injustice when you're the one who's on the privileging end of it? You shouldn't even be the one crying. And that's the whole point of white fragility, because it's based on microaggressions and the fact that people feel that if you talk about race and if you talk about injustice, it's a slight or diss to them, because truthfully, they don't want to discuss it. They want to act like it doesn't exist, and they don't want to share in those uncomfortable conversations because they want to continue the systematic oppression, because they know that they still thrive by it. Does that make sense to y'all? Does that make sense to y'all? Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if that makes sense to y'all. Now at this point, Robin and Candice are going at it. This is when Robin says, like, being deemed a colorist is very offensive to me, and it's just very uncomfortable, and just I can't do it. I can't do that. I just can't do that. I just can't do that. I can't do that. It's too much. Oh my god, like colorism. It's too much. Oh my god, I am a light skinned, like green eyed woman. Like, what are you talking about? Like, colorism? Are you serious? Just because I've gone at all the dark skinned women on the cast, like, I can't. And mind you, Candice is like, okay, I can understand that, but based on the household that I grew up in, the topic of race was discussed all the time. It was not a slight to talk about it. And I can understand you being upset, but I never called you colorist. And this is when Gizelle said, yes, you did. You called us colorists. And then Wendy is trying to get in there and like, no, she did not call y'all colorists. Actually, at the top of the conversation, last reunion, they like Candice opened up the conversation by saying, just to be clear, I don't think that anybody on the cast is colorist. And Gizelle is literally acting like that was never said. Gizelle is such a liar. Gizelle is such a liar. And I'm not even surprised. And then when it goes into the whole colorism conversation, Gizelle is going to say like, oh, I went to Howard. I went to an HBCU. I was in Phi Beta Bye U. I was in this organization. I was in that sorority, and I was in Gamma Gamma Tau Bow too. I was like, okay, and like being a colorist and being a part of Black culture are not two things that are mutually exclusive. Mind you, these are the exact talking points of racist white people. Like, how can I be racist? I have Black friends. How can I be racist? My wife is Black. How can I be racist? I got Black friends. Cause here we go. You're talking about like, how can I be racist? Like, I just can't, because I went to an HBCU and I was a part of AKA, which is known as one of the most colorist, sororities. I'm not gonna lie. Just same thing with Kappas. Those two are known for being colorist. Not saying that all chapters or all of them are like that, but it's, if you are in the Black community and you have knowledge of Kappa and AKAs, that all of them, well, not all of them, but they're all known for being light skinned. They're all known for being light skinned for the most part. You know that. And the fact that your dad is who your dad is, it really doesn't surprise me, because I'm not a stranger to history. I know that Gizelle's daddy was calling Barbara Jordan Aunt Jemima. And I just want to reiterate to y'all, let's talk about this again, because I know a lot of y'all may not know some of these things, but I'm going to break this down for you a little bit. If you truthfully look in the history books and you truthfully look into civil rights in the history in the Black community, light skin and mulattoes, back then that's what they were called, were enemies towards dark Black people. And a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them wanted to profit and wanted to be deemed better than their darker skin, their darker skin counterparts. So a lot of times when what y'all were thinking, trying to think that these light skinned people were all like marching. Yeah, they were marching, yes, but they were marching because they wanted to be privileged as well, not because they wanted equality. They would have been fine if white people said, "Okay, light skin and you mix mutts. Come on, come over here, come over here." Let's hose down these black people. You would be surprised how much of the percentage would have went to that side. Most civil rights leaders were colorists. Exactly. But RIP to her daddy though. I ain't hateful like that. They marched for themselves. And now I'm not saying that this was all light-skinned and biracial people. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying a good percentage of y'all were that. Don't I read my history books. I read my books of Black history. Okay? Now I don't know everything about it. I'm not a theologist. Well, I don't think that's what it's called. I'm not I'm not an expert. But I've done my share of reading, and I know for a fact that a large percentage of the white population had caused the division amongst light-skinned, mixed, and dark-skinned Black people in the community. That therefore created division as we were all searching for justice. Meaning that you would hear them basically touting a lot of colorist rhetoric, right? A lot of colorist rhetoric, right? But we'll move on because I think I made my point. Now, this is when Wendy makes a point to say, like, don't y'all find it weird how we can't talk about the colorism, and we're just sitting here so uncomfortable, and it's almost as if you were talking to a white person and you brought up the color, the fact that there's racism, and they're so offended by the topic, they're not even trying to understand the whole point of why you're being considered racist. And I'm saying a lot of people do not understand when you have hate towards a specific type of community or people, you all spout out similar rhetoric because those are the caps and talking points of hate. Gaslighting, microaggressions, manipulation, goalpost moving, distraction, and repeat. The same way white people act towards Black people is the same way Black hetero homophobic people act towards gay LGBT or just LGBT in general. And then that's the same way that light-skinned people who are colorists acts towards dark-skinned people. And that's the way that a lot of Black men treat Black women. It's always the same talking points. Always the same talking points. Right? But let's continue. So we start talking about Mia and her mess. Now I'm not a big fan of Mia like that, and I've never really seen it from Mia. I think that Mia is pathetic. I do think that she was way more tolerable on this season than she has been in the past seasons. I feel like somebody whispered in her ear and told her that she just needs to chill for a second, because she was up the green eye bandit's ass real heavy her first two seasons. But this season she kind of took a step back because she realized all the hate that she was getting. So she's trying to walk a fine line of being with the Green Bandits and not necessarily igniting colorism conversations against Candice and Wendy. Right? But we get into talking about the paternity of her son. Like, this woman has no shame. She's saying that, that the guy that she's talking to thinks that he's the father of her child. Wendy ended up bringing that on to light. And it got so bad that Karen was like, okay, we cannot continue this conversation. Like, her son is going to have to grow up and watch this. And that's not something that just needs to be discussed free willy on this show. Like, her son has feelings. Her son is an actual person, meaning that he's going to be affected by the conversations that we're literally disclosing to all of America and international countries. Who wants to be known as the little boy whose mom doesn't know who his daddy is? That's crazy. And it's crazy that it took Karen to bring that up and say that. But they talk about how Mia was going through it with a lot, with all of the stuff happening between her and Gordon. They had a falling out on social media. Gordon was going to TMZ and saying all of this stuff. And then Mia makes it a point to say, everybody messaged me and checked up on me except for Candice and Wendy. Excuse me. Now, I want to make it a point to say that I believe that Mia is full of shit. Now, I'm not saying that she's not cheating on Gordon and she doesn't have a boyfriend. Obviously, I think those things are true. However, I believe that her and Gordon are in a conjoined effort to make good reality TV for this television show. So Gordon ended up messaging Candice and Wendy because he thought, and I believe Mia told him to do this, they thought that they would take the bait. But Wendy and Candice did no such thing. They kept it to themselves. They did not spray her business, spray her personal information on the show. And then it went into, but you didn't check up on me though. You didn't check up on me. And then Wendy is like, but we are not that cool, but I had a choice to spray you because your husband came to us with this information and I didn't do that. So I at least have that much of love and respect for you. And then she says, yeah, I can accept that. But Candice is saying, look, I didn't want to get involved and involve myself in your relationship. And then Andy is going to say to Candice, you saying, words of support wouldn't have been butting into their relationship, but literally they try to villainize every single thing that Candice does. So how is she to know? Maybe Candice is feeling a little bit of what's the word for it? Paranoia. Uncomfortability, because every time that she breathes, every single time that she makes a step, y'all always want to break down how she was wrong at these reunions while letting everybody else go scot-free with the fuck shit that they be doing, which is literally insane to me. But, they apologize for not checking up on Mia, and I'm gonna feel like, why are y'all apologizing? Mia not even cool with y'all like that. Mia is not really that cool with y'all. Mia plays in y'all face all the time. Y'all are not her friends. So why would it be expected for Candice and Wendy to extend themselves to Mia in her time of need when she can't even do that for them? Like, you can't make this up. Y'all, I'm trying to get through this. I'm trying. Okay, so let's move forward. So now we're on to the topic of Gizelle losing her daddy. We talk about Gizelle losing her dad. They say that she was there, taking her last breath. Then they talk about the fact that Wendy had made the decision not to reach out to Gizelle when her parents passed. Gizelle gives a petty, thank you to Karen, and I say it's petty because she disrespects everybody else who did not reach out to her, like she's some type of kind force that has established an environment where people can reach out to you. Anytime that Candice and Wendy have tried to talk to you, you literally gave them your ass to kiss. So I don't understand why you felt that they would reach out to you when you were doing all of the things that you were doing. Now, on from this point, Wendy decides to say, Well, Gizelle was talking about my mom when my mom was in the hospital. And Gizelle thinks that she really did something when she says this next thing. She was like, "That's a lie, Wendy. That is a lie, Wendy. That is a lie. I didn't know such thing. I didn't know your mom was in the hospital." Wendy is like, "Okay, but you called my mama evil and she was in the hospital." Now, if you knew or not is not the point. It's the fact that when my mom was battling something and when my mom was going through some physical ailment, you were dogging my mom out. The fact that my mom was in the hospital or not is pointless. It's the fact that you disrespected my mother. And Gizelle says, at the end of the day, I don't have any apology for you because I did not know your mom was in the hospital. I just, I can't. I can't do this. I can't live my life this way, y'all. And I'm expecting Andy to say something. Say something, Andy. Say something. Andy is like, okay. It's always okay. All right. It's like, are we not gonna hold her account? Like, so she can disrespect everybody. She can disrespect everybody. And nobody holds her accountable. It's insane to me. Like, I'm like, what? So, mind you, all Candice said last season was your mama. And y'all tried to vilify her. Tried to say that tried to say that she said all of this stuff about, Mia's mom. So wait, so hold on. Wait. Literally, y'all got mad at Candice because Candice said yo mama because Mia's mom was out here hitting crack pipes, right? But Candice said she did not know any of that. She just said yo mama as a response back. Y'all all claim that she was lying. How could you not have known? How could you not have known even though Mia admitted herself that she never told you? How could you not have known? How could you not know? But skip forward to this season reunion. You call Wendy's mom evil, and she says, "Well, my mom was in the hospital," and you said you didn't know. But we all are supposed to just believe you, and that's just that. But we're not gonna say your mouth, your mouth. What about that mouth? What about that mouth? What about that mouth? Like y'all said to Candice last season's reunion, it's literally the same thing that happened. Mind you, you called her mama evil. That was a specific insult rather than yo mama, which is something that black people say like we drink water. Sometimes I wake up and I just be like, yo mama. Ain't nobody even next to me, but it's your mama. Yo mama. If I'm hungry, like I might say yo mama. If I got an upset stomach, your mama. If I'm a little constipated, yo mama. If the employee at the McDonald's drive-thru did not give me my barbecue sauce, my 10-piece wing, your mama. Right? But skip forward to this reunion, and Gizelle had no knowledge. Gizelle, last season, parents are off limits. Parents are off limits. But now this season, y'all are so comfortable calling Wendy's mom evil and a witch. Oh. So now Gizelle says, I had no knowledge of that. I did not know that. Mind you, they still not showing it. Mind you, they don't show any of the footage to prove the things that Candice and Wendy are saying about Gizelle and Robin and Mia. They're not showing. They lost the footage. They can't find that footage. They don't have that footage. They don't have that footage. But they have footage of every single thing. Every single thing Candice and Wendy did. And it's like y'all are trying to manipulate the audience, but we've been watching the damn show. We've been watching the show, so we ain't gonna be manipulated. The only people who can be easily manipulated are the white and Hispanic fan base and Asian fan base, because they are low-key racist towards dark-skinned black women anyway, and it does not take much to manipulate them. They're looking for any reason to dog Candice and Wendy out. Lyric's mom. It doesn't matter if her mom was getting a BBL or not. That's besides the point. At the end of the day, don't talk about my mama. Period. Don't talk about my mama when your daddy is in the hospital with like on his deathbed. That is not something that you should be doing. Don't talk about my mama, especially last season when y'all tried to crucify Candice for saying yo mama. Don't talk about how. So we skip forward and we completely forget every single thing that we told Candice to do, and we just do the shit ourselves, right? It doesn't matter why she was in the hospital or not. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be talking about Wendy Mama, especially when you had nothing to do with any of this. Wendy Mama didn't do anything to Gizelle. Say anything to Gizelle. So for Gizelle to call Wendy Mama evil was crazy within itself. Now, moving on. Now we get into how Gizelle weaponizes her children. So this is when Andy gets another question, from the cards, from a person, who sent in these questions, one of the watchers. And they say, oh, so Karen, do you feel that you basically did not take a large enough stand against Candice and Wendy when they decided to make faces while Gizelle was talking about her daughter graduating? Karen says, well, I don't really feel that it's my responsibility to keep anybody in line or to tell anybody what to do. I'm not in charge of any one of these women. They're all grown. They can do whatever they want to do. And truth be told, we all make faces. And then Gizelle says, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, Karen. We're not going to do that, Karen. We're not going to do that, because at the end of the day, they were talking about my daughter. And they say, and then Karen and Candice and Wendy are like, girl, what? We were not making faces about your daughter. We were not doing that. And on top of that, we congratulated you, and we even talked about your child possibly going into your sorority. And then Gizelle says, that never happened. That never happened. That never happened. I don't know what you're talking about, because that conversation never happened. Never happened. Never happened. She just kept on repeating, never happened. And Candice and Wendy are like, you remember that? Yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah. That definitely happened. And then Andy is getting some communication through his earpiece. And guess what? They don't have the footage. They don't have that. And Candice is looking like, of course, y'all don't have the footage. Not surprised by that. Of course. It's pretty convenient, right? Y'all don't have the footage. Y'all don't have the footage of us having anything good to say. Y'all don't have the footage of anything, but y'all definitely made sure to show the footage about us showing, basically making a face. And to this day, I do not believe that Candice and Wendy were making faces about Gizelle's daughters. It was the fact that Gizelle was talking. They didn't want her to talk. Like, shut up. Be quiet. Then the husbands come out, y'all. And this is when oh, hold on. I haven't finished all of the parts yet. Okay, I'm not going to skip forward. So we began to talk about the topic of colorism, like I said. We're all talking about the whole racism, the whole colorism thing, because they continuously to badger Candice after every single topic. Talk about Candice, random topic about Candice, random topic, talk about Candice, random topic, talk about Candice, random topic, talk about Wendy, talk about Candice, random topic, talk about Wendy, random topic, talk about Candice, random topic. Literally they kept on trying to villainize Candice and Wendy. So while Wendy was getting into the whole colorism conversation, Karen is going to say, well, I think that honestly that this group of women is no better is no better group of black women to discuss colorism than these women here on this show. Who the fuck told you that? Who told you that, Karen? Because truth be told, sweetie, we trying to figure out why you said that Wendy was not a good look for this cast the first season. She didn't fit the look. What's the look? We still haven't gotten down to that, Karen. So no, you are not. Y'all are not. Y'all don't have the capacity to talk about this. But like I said, we move on, y'all. I truthfully, y'all, I hate this show. I hate this show, y'all. It's so bad. This show is terrible. Let's hurry up and get this over with so I can talk about J10, like Young Miami and J. Cole. All right. So we move on from that, from all of that, right? The husbands come out, and surprise, 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 we're asking Chris about these cheating allegations, but that this random fugly woman made about him. He says, I don't know what you're talking about. I had no communication with that girl. I had no knowledge of anything like that. I had nothing. I don't. And then, Robin decides to pipe up and start asking him questions. So that wasn't you in the voice recordings. That wasn't you in the picture. Like the picture, like that wasn't you. And and mind you, Chris is like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Next. And I'm like, okay, so Candice, are you going to say anything? Why are we allowing Robin to question us? I was like, Robin, until you find a man that truthfully loves you enough to stand behind you in the face of adversity, you can't question nobody else here. Instead of trying to understand and the legitimacy of the DMs between this weird stalker fan and Chris, you need to be worrying about why your man was giving bitches signed hotel checks and signed hotel for portfolios down there at Maryland. Bitches was we talking about this, but the woman literally did a whole interview with Andy OK about your man and said that she was there to do some shit and she just didn't want to hurt your feelings, but she wasn't there for nobody else except for Juan. Why are we asking questions about that, Robin? It's so funny how you have the questions for everybody else except your jobless, broke, pathetic ass husband. I would have literally destroyed Robin. I'm just like, Candice just had to be completely. She had to be done. She had to be checked out. Ain't no way you allowing this husky woman to tell you anything about your man when her man is literally in thin air. We can't see him. He's not here. Let's question you about why your man is deciding once again not to support you. Your man is in motherfucking hotels signing hotel receipts for bitches coming out of Canada. Girl, what? What are we even talking about here? Until you can find how many licks did it take to get to the center of that hotel receipt that your motherfucking husband signed, Robin, I'm gonna need you to sit this out. Until be completely honest about your lesbian tendencies, I'm gonna need you to sit this one out. Until you come to the terms in the fact that your husband don't like you and probably don't love you, I'm gonna need you to sit this one out. Until you come to the fact that nobody loves you enough to stand behind you and support you, I'm gonna need you to sit this one out. Cause bitch couldn't be me. It really couldn't have been. It really couldn't have been. It really couldn't have. But anyway, let's continue. Now, moving on, we get into a whole tiff between Gizelle and Chris. You know, this is when Gizelle is constantly talking over everybody, putting in her, her 2 cents into the whole conversation between, Candice and Robin. And Chris makes it a point to say, the same way you feel how you felt 2 years ago when we all know that was some bullshit is the same way Candice has the right to feel how she wants to feel. Like Giselle's like, okay, and okay, yeah. And then he was like, okay, yeah. Next. Then, like, mind you, I can't no more. Y'all, I can't. I ain't got nothing else to add to that. Y'all, that's it for that.